Hello, welcome to this short series of demos of Microsoft Entra Secure Service Edge in my personal lab environment. Please always check for the latest update on the technology because this technology is really rapidly evolving. And please consider that what I'm demonstrating here is based on my personal understanding of the technology. So it may be partially inaccurate and absolutely does not imply any kind of review and approval by Microsoft. So let's start with these demos. First of all, I want to show you what is the lab setup. I have one big virtual machine, which is this one, okay, which includes all the in nested virtualization, all the servers and client of my on-premises, simulated on-premises network. So I have a domain controller here. I have one server which hosts the Entra ID connector and the Entra SSE connector. I have another server which hosts other important services, for example, the certificate services for Active Directory, but it also hosts IIS and the file sharing. And I have a couple of clients within that network. Okay, both of them have the GSA client, so the component which allows those clients to connect to Entra Secure Service Edge. I have also another mobile client with the GSA client installed, which is installed by Microsoft Defender for Endpoint. I will not use it in these demos now. And I connect to my Office 365 also from an unmanaged client. Finally, I have another client which is also in Azure, which is Entra Joined, while those are, as I wrote here, Entra Hybrid Joined. So this one is Entra Joined, and it has the GSA client. So this is the step. Let's start with the first of these demos. The first one is related to Microsoft 365 traffic. What I'm going to show you is how I can connect to Office 365 and specifically to Exchange Online from Entra Joined machine. Then I will repeat the test from the Entra Hybrid Joined machine. Finally, I'll show you how it's not possible to connect to Exchange Online from an unmanaged client. And I will also show why this happens. Okay, let's switch on the, yes, I am on the Entra joined machine. As you can see, this is not domain joined. So this is my machine on the internet, let me say, but belonging to the organization. Let me open the browser. I am already in a session with the current user. And I correctly authenticate and access Office 365. So I'm just the right user. I can access successfully any Office 365 service like OneDrive, or let me access also the other one, Exchange Online. Yes, just to show that it works. Good. Now let me move within my internal network. Those are the two clients. Specifically, as you can see, those clients are Entra Hybrid Joined because they are Entra Joined and Domain Joined. Okay, good. Now let me repeat the same test just to show the same. I can successfully authenticate to Office 365 and without any problem, I can show you how I can access, for example, my my email in Exchange Online. So let me just access quickly Outlook. Good, it works. It's going to open perfectly. Now, finally, I'm going to show how I can repeat the test on my client. Here I am in a session from my local PC with the profile of the same user in my lab. Okay, now I can successfully enter Office 365 without any problem. Of course, I can access OneDrive without any problem. But when I try to access Outlook, boom, I get blocked. You cannot access this right now. The sign-in was successful, but does not meet the criteria to access this resource. Why this happens? This happens because I organized my lab in this way. First of all, I want to show you that, of course, traffic profile, Microsoft traffic profile within Entra Global Secure Access is enabled. So here we are, okay? And it's enabled specifically for a group which contains my test users. Okay. Second part is the most interesting because it's related to conditional access policy. I created this unique conditional access policy, which targets exactly the same group of users, of the POC users. So basically all the users involved in my tests for Entra SSE. It also targets one specific app, which is Office 365 Exchange Online. Okay. And I added a specific block access, as you can see here. So this conditional access policy block access for all my test users to Exchange Online from any network, with just one exclusion that I'm going to show you right now: all compliant network location. That's why when I try to access Exchange Online from my clients Entra Hybrid joined and Entra joined, which have the GSA client installed, which is recognized as compliant network, in that case, I'm able to enter Office 365 because I am in the exclusion part of this conditional access policy. In all other conditions, catch all, I'm blocked. So no one can steal my access token and reuse it from another location, my access token, which could include the multi-factor authentication claim, and reuse it from another location to access, in this case, my Exchange Online, but this is just a specific demo. You can, of course, you can target whatever application you want, the entire Office 365 or whatever other application you want. That's how it works. Okay, switching gears, let me move to the other demo related to internet access. Specifically, I'm going to show you just a couple of tests. From one, I'm accessing from a client with a specific user, which has all the restrictions of all other users of the organizations, while I'm accessing also from another user which has just one exception in those restrictions. Of course, I could access the same also from my Entra joined client. It doesn't change. Everything is applied in the same way. So let me move to the demo. Okay, here I am with this user, which is not the same as I was in this other client. So I'm with this specific user here. Let me open the browser and try to access any internet site, for example, Google. Yes, it works, no problem. Let me see, for example, a newspaper. It works. Okay, now let me move to a different kind of site. For example, an educational site, University of whatever, of London. Okay. Okay, it doesn't allow me to access this kind of site. Another kind of educational site, for example, let me check MIT. In this case, the message is different, but it clearly shows that my access is blocked, to this site is blocked my admin. Okay, now let me also try to access social site, for example, Instagram. The same, unblocked. Let me try to access, for example, Twitter. Unblocked too. Let me try to access, for example, Facebook, and I finish here my demo with this user. I'm blocked too. Okay. Now let's move to the other user, this one, and let's repeat the same test. I can access, for example, Google without any problem. I can access another newspaper without any problem. I cannot access any kind of university. For example, this one. If I try, I'm blocked. Yes, I am. Let me try to access, for example, Instagram. I'm blocked too. Finally, let me try to access Facebook, and this time I will be able to access. Yes. Why this happens? I show you the setup. So this user, basically, this user has an exception related to the access to social networks, specifically for Facebook, and only this user. Let's see how it set up the environment. Let me go in my configuration, internet access. So once again, I have to go here and check if internet profile is enabled, and it is. As always, it's enabled for a group of users, which are all my test users, okay? Now let me go back to internet access, and let me see what profiles I have. First of all, I have a baseline profile, which is enabled, which includes two web filtering set of rules. One is baseline internet. One is all the websites, and always enabled, always there, and it allows the traffic. But I created a specific internet access block rule, which I'm going to show you right now. And in this block rule, I included all the bad categories that I found in the set of categories. So this is related to a lot of bad categories. Just to avoid in my demo trying to access a bad category, I added specifically education. So that's why all my users are not able to, for example, to access any of the educational site, like the site of the universities. This is applied to all my users, as you saw. Now, let's see what also I have in the security profiles, because I just show you baseline, which is applied to anyone, but I also specified a few security profiles. So I created a security profile which include this web filtering block rule, which is named deny social and download. And I have also created another security profile which include an allow for Facebook. Okay, if I go in the specific web content filtering configuration, when content filtering policies, I'm here. I can show you what is included in deny social and downloads. Specifically, as you can imagine, there is the web categories. There is the web categories of social site, chat, instant messaging, forums, and news group, etc. And this is here, and I show you also the web profile allow Facebook. As you can imagine, here I had a few FQDNs with allow. Those are just a few of the FQDNs which are owned by Facebook. It was just to show you how it works. Finally, as I showed you, we have two security profiles which are applied to the different users through conditional access policies. So here I have two conditional access policies related to internet access. Internet access. Yes, one is applied to all my users. So users, it's applied to all of them. It includes the internet traffic as a target, and it specifies a network security profile here, which is the one I showed you, which blocks access to social sites. while the other conditional access policy, which is this one, is applied just to my target user, with the one who should be able to access Facebook. Again, it is targeting internet traffic, and the session part includes the traffic profile specific done for her, which includes the allow on Facebook, Facebook addresses. Okay, as you can see, these has lower priority, so it is stronger in terms of priority than the one applied to the same users, because it's part also of the same group here. So basically, that user is able to go to facebook.com. Okay, so this finishes the demo on internet access. Now let's move to the final demo related to remote access with Entra private access, Entra SSE private access. What I'm going to show you right now is this connection, the connection from one of my managed client, specifically the client which has the which is Entra joined, and I'm going to show how I can connect from that one to different resources within my internal on-premise, simulated on-premises network. Every time, of course, I connect to the Entra SSE connector, which is on that server. And from this one, for example, I can RDP to the same server or to another server. I can access the website and file share on the other server on this IP address. Specifically, I have on that IP address, I have an authenticated website named intranet. Okay, here I have published another website, which is an anonymous website, which is named public web. Finally, here I have a specific website, which is named HR web, which requires to be enabled for the access through an entitlement management package. So any users who want to access that website needs to have an approved access to an access package. I'll show you exactly how it works. And on this same 3 IP addresses, I also have file shares. So the same applies when accessing file shares. Finally, I show you that in order to access in RTP the domain controller, which represents a tier zero resource, I have to be part of a group. So in this case, I require to use PIM, Privileged Identity Management, to get on just-in-time access to that specific group for enabled users. Okay, let's move to the demo right now. In this case, yes, I am on the external Entra joined machine. Okay, I could do the same identical demo on the internal machine. Doesn't change anything. Okay, now I'm accessing now the intranet. On the which requires authentication. As you can see here, I'm on the Entra joined device. I'm not doing Kerberos authentication. I'm doing NTLM authentication, but you can see that this page was not cached. So every time I refresh, it will change the hour, and I'm accessing from the private access connector, as you can see here. The same happens for the public web. In this case, the access is anonymous, and I'm accessing through the private access connector. In this case, as you can see, I'm accessing just by specifying the name. Same was here, but here I am accessing by using the FQDNs. Nothing changes. I'm able to access the resources by using the FQDNs. And the same is for public web. Good. Now, let me try to RDP to the servers. So this is the domain controller, which is not my first target. My first target, for example, let me SVR1, let me access the machine where there is the connector. As you can see, I'm able to access the machine. So let me try just to complete my RDP. And of course, it will succeed. Okay, good. It was able to access the server. Let me access the other one. This time I will not use the FQDN, I will use the simple name. So SRV2. Yes, the same here. So this time I'm accessing the server, which contains the IIS and my file share, and so on. Yes, good. Okay, so that's good. Finally, let's start trying accessing the file shares. Okay. So here I am on a server SLR SRV, for example, 1, which is the server with the connector. I'm able, it does not include anything, that server, it has not anything to share. Let me go on file server 2, which has a shared folder. This time I'm using, for example, the same simple name, not the FQDN, it's the same. Good. And I'm able to access the file share. Okay. Perfect. Now let's move to a more complex scenario. I want to access, for example, the domain controller in RDP. So if I try to do this, okay, I will not be able to connect. I'm asked to authenticate. I complete the authentication, but I'm not able to connect because I'm not part of the users of enterprise application, which represents the RDP access to the domain controller. How can I be part of that group? Simply, I have to go to PIM with my user, my current user, means privileged identity management. So if I go to PIM, I go to groups, I'm able to connect. I'm eligible to be part of this group, which is RDP to Tier 0 systems. Let me activate this group. Okay, I'm able to activate. I have to specify a reason why I'm trying to access. I can specify a shorter time. For example, I want to connect just for 1 hour and a half. Activate. So basically, what I'm asking here is to be part of the group in Entra, which is allowed to do RDP to domain controllers. Of course, I am eligible to be part of that group because my administrator has assigned me the eligible membership. Because, for example, right now I'm a user on the cloud, which knows the credential of the on-prem admin users, which are domain admins. Of course, those users should not be synchronized to the cloud, so it's absolutely normal that those users are not directly here in Entra. Perfect. So if I go now on active assignment, I should be here assigned to this group with my current user. Let's just double check. Yes, I am. Perfect. I'm also permanent member of the group with all my POC users, but I'm part of this this group which has that specific permission. Let me try to access again the domain controller. Okay, so I was not able. Let me try to repeat that access. Yes, it works. So I can now specify the password. And I'm in. Good. Perfect. Okay, finally, I want to show you how I can connect to my protected resources, so protected website and protected file share. First of all, let's try to access the protected website HR Web. The browser is already trying to access. Let me wait for a moment. As normal, I have a sign-in request because this website does not allow my users directly to enter. If I try to sign in right now, I'm asked to enter the password. I'm asked to do MFA because I configure that site to do always MFA. And of course, my user has also a passkey, but now I am in RDP, so I cannot use my passkey. So I use another way to sign in. In this case, I use my authenticator app. On my mobile, I approve the request, specify the number, matching, and go on. Okay, just done. But I'm not able to access this site because, once again, I'm not part of that application for the website, okay? So this is what is happening right now. And Global Secure Access Client is always saying the same. You are not able to access that site. The same happens if I try to access HR Share. It's exactly the same. So I will receive another request to authenticate, and this will bring me exactly to the same point as before. I will receive an access denied because I'm not part of that specific of the users allowed to access that resource, which is represented by an enterprise application in Entra. So how can I go there and have that specific access? What I'm going to show you is what I have to do in this case. I decided to allow this access not statically, but through an access package request in Entitle Management. So I go to aka.my. Yes, in this case, finally, I was not able to enter because of the same request, which is here. Please sign in. And even if I complete the sign in, I would have the same error which I showed you before. Okay, so now I access my apps. I want to access an entitled management package, which is the one which represents my privileged protected resources, which is this one. I prepared this one. So I just make my request, but the access to those privileged resources, for example, in this case, I need to access, okay, goes through an approval phase. So in this case, it's not automatic. Perfect. Now let me just wait that my admin receives the approval request. The email is arrived finally. Here I received approved or denied the request for Luisa Bianchi to access the access package. I go and approve the request. Yes, in this case, I am the administrator, as you can see here. Perfect. So now I can go and proceed approving the request. Perfect. I can go back on my user session and check if everything is now visible. Yes, it is. Finally, the request, the access package is active. This means that the user has now the right to access the protected website. Let me repeat the test. Refresh. I'm asked again to sign in, which is normal because I configured this specific website to request the sign in every time, which means every 5 minutes. Once again, I'm blocked to access passkey because I am in RTP, but I can access my authenticator, and I'm going to do that. Perfect. Doing a number matching on my authenticator right now. Great. And this time I should be able to access the resource. Yes, I'm in. This time I was accessing the resource from the external client, which is Entra. Again, I am here with my Entra joined device, and I was asked to do an TLM authentication. Of course, I can access the same site, and I have to repeat my authentication because it's NTLM. Which is great. Okay, let's repeat the tests for accessing the websites on my Entra hybrid joined machines. So let's start with the one with normal access, general access, I mean. Here you can see that I was not asked to authenticate. The authentication went in a Kerberos single sign-on. The authentication specifically was negotiate, so it's Kerberos. And I'm passing through the private access connector once again. The same if I use the FQDN, of course, nothing changes. Of course, nothing changes when I try to access the public website exposed in Anonymous. Let's now try to access the protected websites. This time I should be asked for a new authentication because I configured, I repeat, I configured that specific app to request or to repeat the authentication every time. Every time means every 5 minutes. Okay, now in a moment I should receive the authentication pop-up. Yes, it's here. So I sign in once again. Finally. Once again, I have the message that I cannot do passkey, which is not a problem. In this case, the message is different because this machine is hybrid joined, so I have to cancel here. I have to proceed with my authenticator, responding to the challenge with number matching. And this time I'm able to access the website. In a moment we will see it in Kerberos single sign-on, so without any further request from the application. Maybe it timed out, so let me just refresh the page. This time I should not be asked for a new authentication on the Entra site, but I should go directly to the website. Yes, finally it's there. And if I repeat the access here, I get the same. Great. Okay. So it's time for me to show you now how everything is configured. So first of all, this traffic profile must be enabled, and it is, as you can see here. And once again, I specified the same group that I used in all my other profiles. So all my users for this POC. Second part. Let me show you that I have a connector installed in my environment, which is active, okay? The connector is that server which opens the outbound connection to the Entra services, and through that outbound connection, the traffic flows in. Now, I have a quick access network with a quite wide range of IPs, representing all my standard services, okay? Standard services, and I specify the web traffic, which is for 443, the SMB traffic 445, and the RDP traffic. In this case, I have no Linux machines, so I have no port 22 for SSH. That quick access network has also the private DNS configured. So not only the application segment, but also the private DNS. In this case, I have my FQDN of my local internal domain, which is used when my client try to open resources by specifying only the name. So this suffix is added automatically. Users and groups, in this case, all my users are enabled, all my POC users are enabled to access quick access. This is quick access. Now let's see, I have a bunch of other applications, enterprise applications configured for private access. In this case, what I'm going to show you is that this one, Active Directory, basically could be included in the quick access, but I decided to keep it separately in order to have more flexibility. In this case, I also used, sorry, I have an issue with the pointer. I always use the same group of users, but I could restrict and so allow the access from the external, from the external world to my internal resources belonging to the Active Directory infrastructure, just to a limited group. In this case, all my users in the POC are included. And in this case, in this group, I have specified all my domain controllers. I have just one domain controller, and the port related to Kerberos, LDAP, and all the documented ports which are needed to access the Kerberos, the Active Directory services. Okay. I have also I have added to that same application also my server one, my other server 2, sorry, which includes the Active Directory certificate services service. So I have also added the port of that service. So this is related to the application Active Directory, typical Active Directory services. Now I show you the other applications, which are the one related to the protected file share and web. Protected file share, in this case, I have one user here specified, but I have not added the user manually as an administrator. As I told you, the user can be automatically included in this set of users when requesting an access package, which should be approved by my administrator. Okay, so in this case, the user is here just because the user that I in my demo was requesting for that access package. Just as a proof of that, let's go back in my access here, and let's remove the access from that user. That user can decide at some point that doesn't want to have that access. Of course, I also added the possibility automatically to have access reviews, or the users periodically is requested, the approver, in my case, I've configured in that way to reapprove the membership of that user in this access package. But at this point, my user is no longer in that access package. So if I go back to my environment and I refresh this page, I should not have any user in that specific application. Yes, exactly. So at this time, this application, which is the protected file share, is not accessible by anyone. It's a file share, so it has an IP address in my case, and the port 445 TCP. The same is here. In this case, once again, I have to refresh the page and see that there is no users able to access this protected website, which is again on a specific IP address on port 80 and 443. Finally, domain controllers. Domain controllers, in this case, users and group, are I specified that group, which is a PIM-enabled group. And on the network part, I have the IP address of my domain controller. I have just one domain controller, but I specified the network segment, because in that network segment I could put different additional domain controllers, and I put port 3389 TCP UDP for RDP access. Let me show you that this group is in PIM, Privileged Identity Management, that group which is a user for the application of domain controllers in private access. And in this case, I have one active user, because the user Luisa, she was just enabling her access for 1 hour and a half. Not so long, she will disappear from active, and she will remain an eligible user in this group, eligible member. Okay. Finally, I show you the identity governance access package. So I have just one access package in my case, and I configured it to include the resources related to the protected web and protected file share. Okay. So in my case, I specified the policy that the request to this group require an approval, and the approval should be done by an administrator. Okay. So that's it. Hope this can be useful for you to design your lab, to design your POC. So thanks a lot for viewing this video. Thanks. Bye.